What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about how I made a trade that got me a 1,000% return. Now, this was a Tesla trade, and it only took 1 day for this to happen. So we're going to go over all of the option strategies that I used to do this, and we're going to talk about how risky these are and kind of how you can use these strategies that I'm going to talk about to your advantage. Now, before we get into that, if you guys enjoyed this video, please go down and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. It helps me get this information out to as many people as possible, and you get to stay up to date on your favorite stocks and maybe even learn about a couple of new ones. Now, before we really get into this, I used options to make this kind of return. Now, options are one of the riskiest investments that you can put your money into. Now, long-term options are a little bit less risky, but what I did in this situation was I bought an options contract, actually two options contracts, one of them with about a week of time and one of them with less than a day of time. So I was fully aware of the risks of this trade, and I was completely okay with losing the entire amount of money that I put into this trade, which is something that I think everybody should do when you're trading options. About 90% of all options contracts expire worthless on expiration. Now, that doesn't mean that in the time between when you buy the contract and when the expiration period ends, that the contract won't have some sort of profit. So it really comes down to the psychological aspects of trading and when you want to take profits. So let's go over and take a look at my trade history. We can go over here. We can see right here, I bought one Tesla 850 call that expires today, January 7th. Now, I bought this contract for $128.08. Now, the 8 cents is kind of like the fee that Webull charges. It's supposed to be commission free, but there are some little things that they do to charge you a little bit more. It's not a big deal at all. It really has no effect on the trade whatsoever. But if you can look here, I bought a Tesla 850, and then up here you can see that I bought a Tesla 1040 at $96. So I spent around $220 on these two options contracts combined. Now, this morning, if we go back to the Tesla stock, we can see that it absolutely gapped up to around the $800 mark, or $856 was kind of what it was trading at pre-market, and kind of really sold off a little bit during the day. So what I did was I sold right around here, I think. It was right around this 850, 859 mark. And if we go over, we can see the value of the contract that I sold was $1,209. So that's the 850 call. So the 850 went from being $128, which is what I paid for it, to $1,209. So this is about a $1,000 return and about 1,000%. So we can also see that I bought a Tesla call during the day. I was kind of planning on buying the dip on the options on Tesla and maybe getting a 50 to a 100% return during the day. But right as I bought this contract, the stock started going down, and I really wasn't okay with losing $268 on a daily Tesla call. I was just hoping for it to keep continuing up, but it didn't, so I sold out for $235, took about a $30 loss, but that $30 loss doesn't really matter since I have this $1,200 gain on one of the two contracts that I bought. Now, you can take a look at this one right here, the Tesla 1040 call. Now, this expires next week. The value of this contract right now is about $800. So since I made so much money on this Tesla trade right here, I'm going to let this 1040 call that expires next week ride until at least Monday or Tuesday and see if we can get some more bullish momentum going through the week. Now, the reason why Tesla has been going up so much is, one, the Biden administration has been confirmed as the next president. So Joe Biden is going to be our next president. And something that he has been preaching, or a lot of people are expecting, is that he's going to be a very heavy advocate of environmentally friendly things. So electric vehicles fall within that. So we've seen Tesla really rip up this past week. So you might be thinking that 1,000% gain in a day is actually really amazing. It is. I'm very happy with the gain. But if you can take a look at the previous option prices for that 850 contract, you can see that the contract value went as high as $30 a contract, which is about $3,000 when you actually account for how much money you would have to pay for the contract. So I lost out on about $2,000 of profit on this trade. So I could have played it a lot better. When the market opened this morning, I could have sold contracts above the strike that I bought to create a debit spread for a net credit and make my options play free and have upside all the way up to the contract that I sold. But I chose not to. I kind of really have been struggling in this account. This is kind of my play options account that I just kind of mess around in. And I just wanted to take that $1,200 profit because we have earnings season coming up and I love having cash in my account to play earnings. And a higher cash balance in my account really makes it seem less risky for me, especially with earnings season coming up. Now, I want to talk about a little bit of the strategy of what I did. So essentially what was going on was I like to pick one or two companies every week that I'm going to play dailies on. Now, usually I spend between $50 and $100 on these plays every single week. Now, the strategy that is behind this is if these contracts can go up 1,000% in the day that I buy the contract, then I can be wrong 9 out of 10 times and still break even. So that means I have 9 weeks where I can be wrong trading options. But if I just have one of these plays that hits, I break even. And some of these contracts even have profit during the day. So the number really goes down to I just have to be right barely even like way less than 10% of the time to make money on these contracts. Now, if Tesla opened up in the red today, the contracts that I bought for about $120 would have gone down to maybe $30 or $40, and I would have lost all of that money, which I was completely okay with because options are extremely risky. And as I've said before, and I'll keep saying it again, if you are going to be buying options contracts, you need to be okay with losing the entire amount that you put in. Options are a great way to supplement your portfolio. You can use the profits from your options trades to buy shares, which is a very good thing to do. Options are a really good way to make quick money, but they're also a really good way to lose money very quickly. So it's just, you got to be careful with these contracts. Even when you're trading and you think you're being safe, you got to know exactly what you're buying. So the contract that I bought basically means that I am buying the right to buy 100 shares of Tesla at $850 by the end of the day today. Now, I don't have to buy 100 shares of Tesla if these contracts go in the money. I would need about $80,000 or $85,000 to be able to exercise that trade, which I do not have in this account. So I really like to flip the premium and just trade the actual contract. So by the end of the day today, we could see Tesla go way higher, way lower, but I ended up with a pretty solid trade on Tesla today. I usually don't play Tesla because it's just extremely risky, and the other 2 times that I've played it, I've just lost all of the money that I put into the trade. But sometimes you do get lucky, which is what I think happened today. A lot of options trading is luck. You could think you have the best information, you have the right idea, you're buying the correct contracts, and even then the trade may not go in your favor for a variety of reasons. But you also could just buy a random contract on a random company on a random strike, and it could go up 10,000% the next day. You just never know. That's why I kind of like options, because it's very exciting and it's a good way to supplement my other long-term portfolios. So that's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this one, please comment down below your thoughts. If you like Tesla or if you played Tesla today, I kind of want to see if you guys bought options on it too. So if you guys have some pretty good gains, please post them down in the comments. We can have a fun conversation about our Tesla gains.